We're good. Okay. Hello. Call this meeting to order at 7:02 p.m. Board members present tonight. We have Jack Nicolai, myself, Dana Powers, Steve Brown, Ted Gergen. Nick was not able to join us tonight. Administration, we have, oh, you're all here. Okay. We have everybody here. Dr. Valenza, well, Diane. I didn't mean that in any sort of negative way. We love you.
Absolutely not.
Great. And Brian and Patty, we have everyone here. And Marquez, I'm sorry, you're right there. And everybody here who's joined us here. Okay, visitors, make sure you've signed in at the front by where you walk in. And join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. A motion on the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda as written.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and motion carries. President's report. We had a really good meeting last week for all those who came in and provided public comments. We are in the thinking and planning stage. I would expect that we would have a meeting sometime next week to go through the policies again, or a suggested policy for any sort of mask mandate changes or masking policies or anything related to the COVID plan. So just to let you know, it is not on our agenda today, so we will not be discussing it. So clerk's report.
Madam President, I have no correspondence to report at this time.
Super. Okay. And Ted.
All right, well, let's take a look. I'd like to present the treasurer's report dated August 2021. I'll present the ending balance in each account. General fund cash account with a balance of $753,371.17. Credit cards with an ending balance of $4,546.71. EBC Flex and HRA cash account with a balance of $7,227.59. Capital Improvement Fund or Fund 46, balance of $2,094,399.52. Petty cash 400, LGIP $1,198,753.04 for a grand asset total for August 2021 of $4,058,698.03. To move to approve the treasurer's report dated August 2021 as presented.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and motion carries.
To present the payment of accounts payable bills dated August 21st, 21 through September 23rd, 21. Those checks include 70465 through 70529 and 202100077 through 202100117. For a total for checks, $462,800.77. Just a quick question, Marquez, and maybe you just need to get back to us to the next meeting. I didn't see checks 202100074, 75, or 76. It looked like there was like a gap between the dates, maybe in that August 21st range.
We'll have to double check that.
Right, you don't
What were the
see
numbers
them?
again?
They were the first set of checks in that second group, so 202100074 through 76. Right, you don't see those on this month. Okay. I'd like to move to approve the payment of accounts payable bills dated 8/21/21 through 9/23/21 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and motion carries. I do like the Ghostbusters
Seal coating.
Seal coating. It's good. I'm glad you picked them over anyone who didn't protect us from ghosts.
So we have the minutes from the regular school board meeting, 8/24/2021, as printed and or amended.
I'd like to approve, I move to approve the minutes of the regular school board meeting, 8/24/21, as printed and amended.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and motion carries.
And then you have a set of minutes from the special board meeting on 9/23/2021, as printed and amended.
I move to approve the minutes of the special school board meeting, 9/23/21, as printed or amended.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and motion carries. This is our public comments time. We did not have anybody fill out the form to have a public comment, so we will be moving on. Just to reiterate, it's 4 o'clock the night before that you can submit something written, or obviously sign up here to speak during our public comments. So, thank you.
So the first item up for action would be a shared services agreement with Paris School District. This is not a new agreement. This has been ongoing for multiple years for the provision of occupational therapy services utilizing Salem staff. Salem is the fiscal agent. The total cost estimate would be $4,509.52. That is an estimate. There are some things that can vary a little bit, but pretty close.
I move to to approve the shared services contract with Paris School District for occupational therapy services.
So moved.
Sorry for this rattling.
I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Sorry.
We have a shared services agreement also with Paris School District for the provision of deaf and hard of hearing services, again, utilizing Salem staff. Salem is the fiscal agent. The total cost estimate would be $6,894.56.
Anybody?
I move to approve the shared services contract with Paris School District for deaf and hard of hearing services in the estimate of $6,894.56.
So moved.
Second.
Stop it.
Give it to Jack.
Steve's just too fast.
Good. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and motion carries.
So the next item on the agenda is for outside group access to Salem school facilities. We've kind of gradually brought different groups back into the school. This would be that next step up. These new requests that have come forward would be from outside organizations that are not uniquely Salem students. So we have approved previous to this outside organizations that were uniquely Salem students. An example might be community youth basketball or volleyball organizations that have students from multiple districts or feeder districts into Westosha Central and could have non-staff coaches as well. Another example could be an outside civic organization requesting the use of facilities, for example, for a pancake breakfast. So again, we've not approved these organizations yet, but it is in line with the fact that we've been opening up the building gradually.
Anybody?
Yeah, I move, Jack, come on.
Do you have a question?
Go ahead, move and second, and then I'll.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. I motion to approve the opening of the building up to non-school groups with non-staff supervisors. Thank you, Ted.
So moved.
I second it.
Discussion?
Go ahead.
Yes. When we're working in the building with organizations like Pancake Breakfast and things, where students are involved in the serving of the food, I think it's a great thing for the organizations to do, but it always raises a bit of a red flag as far as the cleanliness of it, and especially the way we are right now with the possibility of spreading contagion. I don't know. I would love to see it happen, but I'd also love to see it with certain basic understandings that each group has. Like, if the kids are going to be involved with the food, they should just be involved in table cleanup and not actually preparing or passing out the food unless it's in a container. And, then I think I'd be happy with it. I mean, this is a great thing, and I know that some of these organizations really rely on this for their fundraising. I just want it to be safe.
So I guess I'm asking for direction then in terms of how you would like me to distinguish that. So in the past, we have asked for safety protocols. Are you suggesting that you would like to see a safety protocol from the organization that does not involve the use of students serving food? And I use the word students because it's not necessarily our students that are involved in that. And honestly, I can't tell you if the organization that's requested it had any intention of using students. But I'm just trying to understand what you would like me to convey to them.
A different wording. Students handling food, would that be a good way to do it? To stop them from actually getting involved, where they could deliver the food in a container or on a plate they can clean up. But as far as the passing out of pancakes or the preparing of the sausage, I wouldn't like to see the kids doing that. I'd like to see that more in the hands of the adults. I'm trying to think of a good way to word this to say, that students would be
Supervised.
Would be what?
Heavily supervised.
Heavily supervised.
Because if we want them to learn, right, it would be better for them to learn from their supervisor on how to serve it versus not serving. You know what I mean?
I also think a lot of organizations have those, have stepped up their safety protocols, right?
It's not the same.
It's not the same as it was 2 years ago to have a pancake breakfast.
Well, it's been that long since I've spoken breakfast, so you're probably right.
Well, if we can come up with the wording in the agreement form, I mean, I agree with Jack in terms of having outside groups here, and they've always been wonderful, all the groups that have come here. But if we could have something in the wording that would cover this, I would be in favor of that.
Maybe having the students not have direct contact with the food. Preparing, dishing out and such, and the only contact they have would be to bring a platter or to clean up the tables. Something along those lines.
I'm good giving Connie that grace of
Yeah.
wordsmithing that, and trust her and the team to come up with they obviously want to keep the school safe too, and I trust the administrative team to kind of come up with those protocols, I guess.
I'm in agreement.
I think the one key that I would say, though, is that there will not be any level of district supervision on a weekend, for example, when these types of events are being carried out. Certainly, we would have custodial staff here. And I can certainly, what I think I hear you saying is your preference is not to have students involved in food preparation. And so you are, from what I'm hearing, so correct me if I'm wrong, but you are motioning to approve opening the building up to non-school groups with non-staff supervisors, provided that I can't say students because these are not, provided that non-adults are not engaged in food preparation.
That sounds good.
Go ahead and make that motion, Jack.
It's not written
We
down.
already
No,
have one.
I know.
Here, I wrote it down. I move to approve the,
But we
I'm
already
sorry.
have a motion
We already
on
have.
oh, I'm sorry, okay, but
So
this
what,
would be an amendment to the motion then.
Motion.
Okay, I'm sorry.
carry on.
I would like to make an amendment to the motion that, to approve the opening of the building to non-school groups with non-staff supervisors, provided that non-adults are not involved in the food preparation or the actual handling of food.
So amended, so moved.
I'll second that.
So, okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and motion carries.
So next item on the agenda is the replacement of condenser and coil in 2 air handling units. These are 1995 units that were installed with the middle school addition. The district received 3 bids to do that work from Eckert of Kenosha, Vorpagel of Burlington, and Butters and Fetting of Milwaukee. You can see that the lowest bid, including control integration, because that was one that was left out of one bid, would be Eckert.
And we're,
Eckert does do a lot of our work. They're familiar with our different air handling units, and they are typically who we call to service them as additional piece of information.
And there's been no complaints or, right? Like, I think we've been solid with them for a good relationship. I move to approve the bid by Eckert of Kenosha for replacement of condenser and coil in 2 air handling units.
so moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and motion carries.
Just as an information item, our annual meeting will be coming up. I know that Marquez will talk a little bit about that soon in his report. This is a very important meeting for our district. So it starts out with the annual budget hearing, which would be October 26th, 2021 at 5:30 p.m. This is followed by the actual annual meeting, and that would be at 6 p.m. And then followed by the October regular board meeting, which would be at 7 p.m. or immediately following the adjournment of the annual meeting, would be held here at this point, scheduled in the middle school gymnasium. And much of the way in which these meetings are handled and the requirements of these meetings are statutory. That's why we have them set up in that manner. In the end goal would be for that regular board meeting then to approve the levy. So that's the process that we'll be going through. But just to give you an update on those different meetings coming up. And then administrator reports.
I promise to keep it short. I just wanted to give you guys an update on some of the DPI reports that are due at this time, or have been due in the last month or so since we last met. So currently we're still in compliance with all of our financial reporting to the state. We've submitted, or I have submitted in the last month, the annual report and the special education annual report. So those are the financial reports that the state uses then to determine ultimately your aid for the next school year. So those were due a couple of weeks ago on the 17th. We have to submit a school level report, which breaks, for us, since we only have one school, it's a pretty simple, straightforward report, but for districts with more than one school, it's a way for the state and the federal government to compare your spending at your different schools and make sure there isn't any big discrepancy with funding. And then just today I submitted our summer school pupil count, which saw a major increase from last year when we had very little summer school enrollment virtually last summer. This year we did have, I think it ended up being 15 FTE because they take the total minutes and then calculate it into an FTE, but it's still down from where it was pre-COVID. So our summer school enrollment was lower this year than it was in past summers. In the past few years, we've been right around that 20 FTE, so we're about 3/4 of what we normally have for summer school minutes. And then we also offered summer school transportation for the second summer school session, so we were able to submit a report for that, and so we'll get a small reimbursement for the state for those expenses. And then, as Connie pointed out, I just wanted to highlight some of the key budget dates for our budget, or key dates for our budget. The budget hearing and annual meeting will be on October 26th. On October 15th, the state will release the equalization aid certification. So that's kind of that final piece of the puzzle that is needed to know, to help determine what our property tax levy ultimately will be. Another big piece of the puzzle is our student enrollment, our pupil count, which is due this Friday. So we're still finalizing that, but that will also go into determining how much our equalization aid will be, and also our levy amount, because that goes into that revenue limit formula. And then in preparation for the budget hearing and annual meeting, we have to submit public notices. We have to publish notices in a newspaper, so we will be getting those out. One notice will go out on the 14th, and one will go out on the 21st in Kenosha News. Just kind of with that information about the dates, times of the meetings, and also with that proposed budget that will be discussed at the budget hearing and voted on later that night. So wanted to keep it short, but our office is busy. We wrapped up the audit a few or 2 months ago now, and then all the reports are due, and now budget. So we're staying busy in the business office. Any questions?
Thank you, Marquez.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Did you get a tag?
I know, it's down there still. Just a couple quick things for me. I'll keep it brief as well. So one of the things new we're doing this year, school-wide, but middle school, we're doing our morning collaboration, teacher collaboration meetings and PLC meetings. This has been something we've really been looking forward to doing the last couple of years. We were going to do it last year, and we obviously couldn't because of COVID and things like that. But we started it this year. Those meetings are on Tuesdays and Wednesdays from 7:30 to 8:10. In the middle school, what we're really focused on right now is developing and refining our essential standards at each grade level, and really answering the question, what are those main things we want kids to be able to know and be able to do at the end of that grade level so they're ready for that next grade level. The focus so far this year has been mostly on working in vertical teams. So for example, all the math teachers would be working together. All the ELA teachers are working together, science teachers are working together. And the real main benefit of that is make sure that there's no gaps in obviously learning and things like that. Because you could imagine if a 7th grade teacher is really focused on, let's say they want them to know fractions and percents and things by the time they get into 7th grade really well, and the 6th grade teacher is really focused on ratios and geometry, you could see how we already have that gap just right there. So these conversations are really pivotal to actually obviously help close those gaps and increase student achievement. So we're really excited about that. Yeah.
That's a question. As far as math, what grade levels are working? What grade level teachers are working together in these meetings?
So right now for middle school, it's 6th, 7th, and 8th that's working vertically in those things, because obviously in middle school they're content area teachers as opposed to like K-5. And K-5, Patty could speak more on it, but it's more grade level things, and they're still having these same conversations, but more at the grade level. At some point, I'm sure we'll be ready to talk with obviously 6th grade teachers, to be able to talk with 5th grade teachers, but we're still really trying to answer what those essential standards would actually be at those grade levels.
My wife is a math teacher, 8th grade, and she has told me that sometimes there's sort of a break in communication between certain grades. There's something the 5th grade teachers expect that the 4th grade teachers don't get a chance to cover or aren't covering the same that they do.
For sure, and absolutely, and that's why we're having these meetings, so hopefully we kind of close that from happening, because obviously in past years, it's no fault of any teachers, they just haven't had that time to collaborate vertically and things like that. So by having these conversations, we should be able to close those issues from actually happening, because then they're talking, once 6th grade has their essential standards in place for math or reading, they're talking with the 7th grade teachers, and they're saying, all right, here are my 5, just look for what you want in 7th grade, and then there's a conversation around that throughout that vertically. So that's been the focus in middle school so far this year. So it's been really good. The other part is just one quick thing too. We had our ARC reading coach come in from American Reading Company. She worked with the new teachers throughout the building as well, the 6th grade teachers. Really the focus was on the EARL and just kind of learning how to benchmark students. One of the nice things with the ARC curriculum as well is that she's coming in another 4 or 5 times this year. So it's been really great. And so it's ongoing professional development for those teachers, which I think is obviously needed.
Yeah, was that part of the in-service yesterday that was held?
No, it actually wasn't. She actually came in last Thursday when the students were in session. And part of the reason for that is because then she could see the teachers actually being benchmarked and kind of coaching the teachers through that, which was teachers thought was really beneficial and things like
So
that.
my follow-up question then, yesterday was an in-service. What kinds of activities took place for grades 6 through 8?
So grades 6 through 8, we did a couple of different things. We did some things with educator effectiveness with summary years and things like that. And we're also doing our equity work in the morning. We did some equity work with the RPIC grant. So that was the focus in the morning. They had some team time again to have team grade level team meetings, and then the afternoon was educator effectiveness with Frontline and using that, and we're talking teachers through using this, going through the summer year and their support years.
Okay, very good, thanks.
And the acronym ARC, would you remind me of that?
It's American Reading Company. Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions at all? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ron.
Great, thank you, Ryan.
Hello, everybody. All right, just a couple of things to share. We have, in addition to what Ryan talked about, we've started a couple of practices this year to make sure that we're meeting student needs. First one, focusing on supporting teachers. We call them teacher talks. We have all of our elementary teachers meet with a team every 2 weeks for 15 minutes. It gives them an opportunity to access our literacy experts, our math experts, our behavior experts, and helps them problem solve and identify areas that they can help support their students in. And hopefully with this team approach, we'll be able to help more students and in a timely manner. So if we're meeting every 2 weeks, then we're making sure that we're staying on top of our data and reaching students immediately when needs arise. So the second practice focuses on supporting students, and that's our morning meeting that we've implemented. So at the elementary level, students start their day every day in a morning meeting. They circle up, they greet each other, they do some fun activities together, really focusing on relationship building and just kind of enjoying each other being in the classroom. So we're hoping that helps them start off their day on a really positive note. So just a couple of practices we're putting in place to meet student needs and to start filling any gaps that may have come up in the past couple of years.
How long does this gathering in the morning happen with the students?
Just about 15 minutes.
15 minutes?
Yep, just a nice way to start the day.
Patty, the in-service yesterday for the elementary grades, what kinds of activities took place?
Same thing that happened in middle
Okay.
school.
Okay.
Yep, we started our day the same way, working with our equity work, and then the afternoon spent on educator effectiveness and helping our teachers who are in their evaluation years get prepared for what's to come.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Okay.
What
Thank
does
you.
equity group mean? Like who's,
So that is part of the RPIC grant that we're working through. We have some learning that we're doing throughout the year. We started it in the past couple of years and just build on that, a little bit of learning throughout the year.
I think, so Judith is going to be the next one. She's kind of the coordinator of the overall RPIC grant, but focusing on making sure that we're meeting the needs of all of our students. So whether that's our students coming from impoverished backgrounds, whether that's our students that have a need for special education services, and really focusing on meeting those students' needs within the classrooms that they're being taught in.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Musical chairs. Next. Our next candidate is,
As part of Act 118, all schools are responsible for reporting the seclusion and restraint reports to the school board each year. This report has to be filed by October 1st with each school board, and then again December 1st with DPI. March of 2020, there were some new changes to the seclusion and restraint rules. Part of that is that there's a written report that's actually sent home to the parent. The report was always made available, but this time we have to send it home within 3 days. There has to be a debrief after each incident that must include anybody who saw the event, witnessed the event, was part of the event. We also include the administrator as well. And part of that is just going back through and saying, was there anything we could do to de-escalate that situation so we didn't have to turn to seclusion and restraint? We also have to conduct an IEP meeting if it's after the second seclusion and restraint. So if you remember in years past, some of those numbers crept up there, but you saw that it was very few students, and typically it was a student with a disability. And now after that second incident, we meet in order to prevent high numbers with just 1 or 2 individual students, and we built those supports into the IEP. We went through a CPI, or a restraint refresher, with Amy Prochnow. She is our district trainer in that area. So all of our paraprofessionals met. We discussed all the different types of restraints. We went through the seclusion and restraint reporting responsibilities, and we went through that same with our special education teachers as well. So we're making sure that we also provide education to our staff in that particular area. You can see our numbers are very low. They were higher in 2 years ago. They dropped down a little bit in 1920, and in 2021, we only had the 1 seclusion and restraint incident. Wow. Probably most likely due to it was a COVID year, a lot fewer students that were in the building, and just things like social distancing really helped a lot of our students have that space that they need. That's all I have for you tonight.
Do you want to touch on the RPIC grant again, I'm not sure if I explained that.
I couldn't hear you backstage.
The PIC grant.
Yeah, so the RPIC grant is the Research to Practice Inclusive Communities Grant. We are in our 3rd year of that grant. It provides us different funds to be working with our teachers and eventually students to really start providing kind of that holistic look, that multi-level system of support for all of the students, and it includes anything from social emotional well-being to building in that system of support through interventions. I didn't hear the question because you can't hear backstage. Was there anything else?
Nope, that was
Okay.
fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Judy.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Judy.
So we don't have committee reports, and at this point, I'm not recommending a committee meeting. I know that we'll have some other meetings coming up in the future. Upcoming board meetings, I already talked about our annual budget hearing and annual meeting, our regular board meeting. So that's all I have this evening.
Do we want to look at, not next week, but the week after for that retreat?
Are you talking about the facilities retreat?
Yes.
Yes, to address kind of facilities and that type of thing.
Do we want to
certainly
continue with
can.
that?
Would you like me to send out a?
Please.
Yeah, please.
that'd be great.
That'd be great.
Yes, for next week too. Let's work on the next 2 weeks of setting something. Okay, because I know we need to get on that as well.
Right, and then also, Madam President, at the, in January is the WBA conference, so we should maybe talk about that. I'll put that on the agenda for next time in terms of a representative to go.
I nominate you.
Oh,
No?
no, okay, but no, because I just, and then there's
I'll vote
also,
on that, Dana, because I think we're all good.
We're good.
okay, and there's also the regional meeting coming up on October 20th, so.
Sounds great.
I don't think anybody wants to steal that.
Nobody.
No, I don't,
You represent us
I don't
well.
mind sharing that at all, I guarantee you.
Represent us well.
Thank you. Thanks.
Perfect. So our next board, yes, we already talked about that whole bit. So next meeting, October 26th, 7 PM. I move to adjourn the meeting at, 7:35.
Can I say so moved? You have to say so moved, I think.
Well, I created it.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.